independent. You know it. You love it. You can't live without it. Rockland World Radio.
Hello, everybody. You have reached Rockland Road Radio today, NMS Youthology Hour. We have a special guest on today talking about police shootings. Do you want to introduce our guest, our special guest?
School shootings, right? School shootings.
Okay.
This is Craig Worcester. He's a friend of mine from LinkedIn. And do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure, I can. A little bit about my background. I've been about 24 years in law enforcement, 9 of which were military, 5 years in the Army, and then 4 years in the Coast Guard. What I've done up until this point kind of led into the company that I'm presently working for. We're dealing with the epidemic that we have in this country of school shootings. And one of the frustrations that we have talked about on LinkedIn was every time there is a school shooting out there, it comes back with an anchor person saying, what can we do to stop this?
But then I was telling him, but then again, nobody wants to get involved. And I'm so glad that you took it the next step farther and really, are going to nail it.
I hope so. Sure. I really hope that we go forward with the technology that we have. It's already been in place for many years. Now we've commercialized it, and we're ready to.
How does this app work?
Well, essentially, like I said, it's a technology that's been there for many years. The military's been using it for, I think, a total of 8. And it works on the actual gunshot. Once a gunshot has been detected by our device, our acoustic device, it automatically changes or transfers whatever asset that we have in that school to the police department. It takes the human out of it. It makes it more of a stable or sterile environment.
So that automatically dials like 911?
Something like that. We do have a 911 feature to it, but we have our own software that drives us.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's one of the cutting edge technology.
How would the schools go about doing this? Do they have to, request it, or where do they go?
Well, I mean, obviously every company out there has a website. We're no different than anyone else.
Do you want to give your website?
I would. It's www.verbiinc.com. It's VERBIINC.
Can you repeat that one more time for the viewers?
I sure can. It's Verbi. It's www.verbi, as in VERBI, Inc.com.
Thank you. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's
one way to get a hold of us. Obviously, the other way is email. Give us the email, and we'll make contact and provide a demonstration.
Do you want to leave a number too?
I would. Our number that we would use is 203-240-1363.
And did you bring anything to do a demonstration?
I did.
Good.
We have a quick demo. I don't know if it does.
Jeff,
Zoom.
do you want to zoom it in?
We can zoom it in and.
Don't go too far on that.
No, I'm not going too far.
All right. It works. It works very simply. If you can see what I have on my screen, this is a.
Put it up like that, maybe.
Sure.
Or can it go up a little bit, just so the glare?
Yep.
Can you see that, Jeff?
Because I'm on it so much, I know this.
Sure. Basically, it works on a zone. Our system works on a zone security, or we actually keep it zone based. In those zones are indicated with the green. If there was a gunshot or explosion, that goes off. It sounds something like this on our demo. And
That is so scary.
it is. It is
That is,
scary.
yeah, and, and it's not for me, but if it was in a school and there's like children, helpless children, that is just the most horrifying. And then it's just, I don't know what's wrong with people today.
Yeah,
we were talking about that. It's like, what's going on in your mind?
I agree.
Yeah.
What would happen in this case is one of the zones would become red instead of green.
Okay,
That would be this screen. Let me back up just a bit.
okay.
This screen, once a gunshot or explosion has been detected, gets transferred to the police department. This is what they would see. All right. So, whatever asset they would have, and I'm going to show you one of them right here. This asset here would be a door lock. We can unlock remotely, lock and unlock the doors. It's very simply
Yeah, that's awesome.
from dispatch. They can unlock it and lock it back up. And then if they have a camera, this zone has a camera, all they'd have to do is click on the zone, and the camera comes
And they
up.
could zoom right in on them.
They could, if that is a PTZ, pan tilt zoom.
They should make them all, because of the safety of the children.
Yep.
It's important to be able to have that for the children. It should be a must.
I agree.
Anything, they make the stupidest things legal. They should do something that is really important, legal. I mean, make it that's mandatory.
Yep, and we're in hopes that to be the case. We always go back to, we already have in our homes and our businesses, one thing that's on the ceiling. You guys know what that is?
The cameras,
No, that's
or
in the commercial.
the
How about for fire and smoke?
smoke detectors, the carbon dioxide.
Yeah, zoning's already mandated that we have smoke detectors. Fire
Right, so they
detectors.
should mandate that for the children's safety.
Right, and we're hoping that's going to be the case.
Who has to put that through? Like who?
Legislation.
And how
Oh,
can people
wow.
vote? Can you start a voting? Can you start some kind of a?
That's above my
Well, if you
pay grade. I hate to say it.
I know, but if you passed around the school to the parents, if you just made out a flyer and had the kids' parents, say whether if they got enough votes.
Right.
You don't have to pass it out. You just make flyers and send them home with the kids at school,
Right.
and let the parents, fill it out, and there you go.
Exactly. Well, that's actually a pretty good point. One of the states in the Northeast has already started legislation. Now, they haven't funded the legislation to insist on having some sort of gunshot
The government
detection.
should do that itself for the children. I mean, considering, as we were talking last week,
Mm-hmm.
if you're allowing, the borders to stay open illegally, do something good for the kids to
True.
protect them, because this is like all revolving around drugs because people are going crazy. I mean, I'm not saying we're gonna have zombies, but it's not really gonna be zombies. It's gonna be the kids on crack and the kids all drugged up, and they really need to do this because it's important, and they're allowing really crazy things in, and this should be one of the top on the list.
Right. Well, this actually stemmed, or this thought idea was accelerated after Sandy Hook, the shooting up in Connecticut.
Right, that was
And the commission that was formed through the governor in Connecticut had 32 recommendations. And our company is the only company out there right now
Yeah.
that has addressed all 32,
good.
which is pretty impressive.
And put that on the flyer that's going home with the kids, so they
Right.
actually will see.
Right.
Put everything down, all your credentials.
Right.
Kind of like a little proposal, just so you can get,
Right.
the best the best
Right.
input from them and the best result.
Right, and I hate to put a price tag on anything, but at the end of this, we're going to be talking about price. And to be perfectly honest, this is really inexpensive technology. We're not talking about a lot of money. Many people pay more for a car.
Maybe
than
the
this would
parents,
cost.
I don't know. Maybe they can all do a donation, sponsors. But it is so important that there shouldn't be a price on children's safety. I'm saying the government should really do it because it's for children, innocent children.
Right.
To tell you the truth, I think even the NRA would approve of this.
Yes.
Of course. Of course.
Because
It
that
is
would
not.
spare them the trouble
That's correct.
and the finger pointing
Right.
that they're getting every time,
Right.
people get killed in schools.
So now can the school set the system up now?
Yes. All you have to do is give me a call, and we'll go in, we'll do a security analysis to make sure that what we are going to put in is adequate. The device itself, we call it an AED. The device itself has limitations, just like anything. There's no perfect system out there. An inside device or an inside AED has a limitation of a maximum of 300 meters inside, but that's also constrained by fabric on the wall or the density of the walls itself. So that's some of the things that I do is I tell them, hey, listen, you need 2 instead of 1.
Right.
And then we have an exterior version that we can either install around the building, which that is primarily what we use.
I think it should all be one set package, and it should be, mandatory.
Right. Oh, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
But that's a lot of legislation, a lot of yelling. That's for sure.
Yeah, well, I mean, how much can I yell about the government to close the borders? I mean,
Right. Right.
so I mean, we can get it out there, but will they listen? They haven't closed those borders yet.
That's right. Definitely.
That's amazing. So what made you invent something like this? What inspired you guys to come up with something like this?
Oh, I'm glad you said you guys. I'm not the inventor, that's for sure.
Okay.
You're
And
the founder,
the
so.
CEO of the company has a background in RFID tracking of assets.
Okay.
If you want to track
Very,
your,
very technical, very,
right.
very skilled.
And what he has done, he obviously has children in school, just like I do.
Okay.
And what he has done is taken it to the next level. He does not want, we live very close to Newtown, and we do not want our children to experience something
Oh, no.
like that. And along those lines, while I was a lieutenant in the police department, I was very fortunate, and I say that in a most sincere way,
Right.
of assisting in Newtown. Now, of course, I didn't go there the first day. They had enough police officers from all over the state in the area. But subsequent to that, and
Yeah.
after that, days after that, I was doing many shifts in Newtown.
And it's trauma.
It
It's
is.
a very
It is.
bad.
I've always had a question, though. Excuse me.
Go ahead.
There's always been a large amount of people buying guns, and it seems like it's undetected. And then they go into a school and they do something really crazy, and then everybody's like, "Oh," I'm thinking, well, isn't there a way to kind of track who is buying all these
Yeah,
guns?
it's
you know?
marked, but they're marked. The guns are marked on the inside. But if you buy it hot, who's going to know who had it last? It's just not a name that you would be registered to. It's supposed to be registered technically.
Right.
But if you're buying a hot gun, you're never going to know. They're never going to know.
So the guy in Newtown that bought all those guns and his mother was buying the guns, how come they were off the radar? That's what I'd like to know. Well, no, I want him to answer. Let me. I want to hear from him.
Right.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, the guns that were purchased in Newtown. Now, of course, I'm not that familiar with the actual each individual one. I know of one in particular, which is the rifle.
Okay.
They were purchased legally by the mother. So if they're purchased legally, they are not going to be, something that we're going to be looking for.
Okay.
Because obviously under,
But the
and we're getting
bullets-
deeper into Second Amendment issues.
Oh,
but,
I understand, yeah,
But
okay.
Wouldn't
if
it-
it's purchased legally, it's registered.
Right, but wouldn't they be able to track it because it have the markings? Like when you shoot the gun, there's a marking in there that's onto the bullet, and that's how they would detect and track back the gun.
Right, but as of right now, that is not. There's only 2 states in the country that do that, which one's New York.
Yeah, of course.
And I don't know which one the other one is. I
So
don't
technically, I could just go on the internet and buy 10 guns.
No,
right?
no.
No.
You don't want to do that, Lena. I don't want to visit you in jail.
No, not that I'm
If you
going
get
to, but
one, if you get 10, at least give me one, a small one.
But I'm
No,
just
no.
trying to figure out why
Oh,
her
God.
and her son were able to have so many guns.
Because they were in a state where they were allowed to have it. And besides, if you buy them under a small, a different kind of size, you can have as many as you want. They're shotguns.
Plus people
You have the
usually
hunts. They could say they're
hunting
hunt.
and target shooting.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's why I just don't like guns. I grew up, my father had a gun. He was, we had businesses, and it just didn't bother me. I never ever looked to touch it.
Right.
I was taught. Some of the kids today, with the medicines, that the doctors give them, which they really probably don't even need, but they just throw these kids on medicines, it just makes them kind of haywire. I'm finding out. And, if you see all the shootings or you see incidents, you'll hear, well, because the kid was on Ritalin or he was on this or that. And, some children do need it and some don't, but it should be monitored, and the child should be monitored. If they're going to be on a medication, they should be monitored regularly for that, the blood pressure. The anxiety level, the sleep. Like, it should be a regular thing, because that's something that can really, it could damage a child and make him, the children are children. They don't know how to respond like we would. Even sometimes we can't respond to medication.
Then you're infringing on people's rights, so you really can't do that.
No, the mother, I would want, my son, I would want my son and the doctors to do it regularly. However the doctor wanted it, I would be willing. If that's what it took to make sure he was stable on that medication, that's what I would do. I'm not saying bring in the public and, go against their will, but I'm saying for your children.
Right,
I don't know if that makes sense. I don't.
Well, I wouldn't, I really don't know much about that end of it as far as, medication and so forth.
You hear that after this, you hear that that's the cause of it. And I sometimes you just don't know.
Right.
And sometimes they never even tell you.
Right. So what ideas do you suggest to our government to help contain the crazy, wild behavior with the guns? Yourself. I want to hear from you.
Ooh, wow, putting me right on the spot.
I told you, I was just going to say, I don't think you can do that.
A personal thought, obviously, our elected officials have to listen to their constituents, but I would say that, a good place would be to start looking at mental health.
Right.
And addressing that, and I think it plays into what you were just saying.
Right.
Yeah.
The medicine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty interesting.
But like I said, I'm not an expert on that.
Understand,
as far as that goes.
I still say close the borders. Either that or make it legal. Make it legal or close the borders. Because, so
tell us some more information about this.
Sure. Like I said, it's I'm not so sure what I have here to show you in addition. However, as far as a police officer, that is, I'm going to bring it back to what I know. I was an instructor for many years in the active shooter arena.
Okay.
And one of the stories I always tell is that initially, what I would tell my officers or the people that were training would be that the first person, if you can't get in and the doors are locked, and back in those days they weren't given individual keys to anyone.
They're not today either.
And I'd tell them, I said, any way you can get into that building, you get in, whether it be driving the car through the front door or whatever it takes. Now, with this, I'm going to bring it back to this.
Okay.
With this, you've got the element of surprise to neutralize or to subdue a threat.
You have a robot, right, too?
No, this wouldn't.
That wouldn't have
No.
any mechanism to that, like nothing connect. Okay.
No, ma'am. And essentially, what would happen is you can either lock a door
Oh,
to
wow.
limit him from getting any further into the school, because they're all zone-based now anyway.
Okay.
Each wing has their own doors. But also,
The colleges need these.
right, the police, it goes well past
Wow,
colleges.
yeah,
so-
wow. You need, that would.
Business needs them today.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But the colleges and the schools, it's just, they need this.
Well, last month we had 4.
I know,
college
within a
shootings.
month.
So that this is a big, hot topic.
And then in the college, you have illegal drugs and drinking. So then there's really, a real need for it.
Right. Anyway, the police officer that shows up on scene, you can actually enter the building and use the intelligence from either your supervisor that's outside or with you.
Okay.
It can come to your phone.
Okay,
Whereas-
that's what I was going to ask. If you can
Right.
connect it to, like, your phone, like
Right.
the sergeant, if he...
Right, any officer on the street that has an iOS device or a phone,
Okay.
you can actually look at and see this screen on your phone.
That's amazing.
Awesome.
You have the same thing. So if you have the asset of a camera, the officers that are going in, I don't want them looking at their camera. However, the officers that are going in had the ability to track the threat.
That's
Right, that
awesome.
is awesome.
So
That is
that's,
really
that's
awesome.
a major
That is.
benefit.
And is there like a heat sensor, like a body heat kind of?
Well, you're limited by your budget. Obviously, if you want an infrared camera, that's something that you'd have to discuss. Can you link it? yeah, we could integrate with that.
Maybe and then put some kind of a package together. Like do everything that you can do.
Right.
Do 3 packages, platinum, silver, and gold.
Sure.
And then, and then at the end of them put, well, these are what it can protect, this is what it can't, and this is what it really can't.
Right.
What would you do if it was your child in school?
Right.
What I like about what you just mentioned is that the police officer can save his life. Instead of being ambushed, he can actually
that's
look on
the
there.
job-
That's the thing.
And he can see.
The FBI standards are pretty clear. They've done extensive studies from 2000, 2013 of all the mass shootings, not just schools, but all the mass shootings. And what they've found that once an officer enters that building, enters that actual mass shooting scene, within a very short period of time, we're talking under a minute, the threat has ceased. Now, that's
Because
that's
of
amazing.
this.
That-
Because
it's
of
a-
this product. That's
No.
amazing. Well, because
No,
of the
for-
whole.
for their
Well,
studies.
let's let him explain.
Right, no,
Just
for the
wait.
studies that they've done, once an officer has entered a mass shooting, such as a school, that scene or that situation has now ceased within a short period of time. Usually it's within a minute.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Now, what I'm doing, or what Verby has brought to this arena, is the fact that now we don't have to do any guessing. So if something happens, such as a shooting in a school, the dispatcher now instantly has that access to what's going on. They don't have to guess, possible gunshots.
No, they'll know right now. Boom.
They know, hey, we have an active shooter. He's a white male
Okay.
walking east to west down the main hallway of whatever school it is. And now when the officers show up, they know what they're confronting. They know what the threat is inside that school, and they can react appropriately.
Do you want
And
to?
you're right, it does save officers' lives.
Yeah.
It does.
Wow.
Do you want to play the sound again for the viewers to let them know
Sure.
what children do here, even for the government? This is what is happening when you're not there. The kids are here. This is what the children are hearing.
Right. And then, like I said, it's you
That's
have-
very scary for a child. I would want to protect. I would. If I had the ability, I would try to connect as many people who had the same passion, and make it happen.
right. It's a little
More than that, but
It is, however, that's a step. One other thing I want to address, and it is important. Obviously, we have competition. There are 2 companies out there that do it. They don't do it as well, and I'll tell you why. They're about 75% more in money. That's a big thing.
Okay.
And they don't do it with the same technology. They use a microphone system. So the microphones have to be located, 10 feet apart or 30 feet apart, 10 feet off the ground.
I would want it done right.
This one is getting one device to cover a main hallway. And that's a big plus, cost-wise, and also intrusion-wise. Their system relies solely on microphones, such as this one here, obviously smaller. Microphones are a Fourth Amendment violation, a civil rights violation. They have the ability, the
You
competition,
I'm sorry. You can't have a microphone.
actively recording.
Yeah.
All right, so in your office,
Oh, not in my office.
Okay.
Oh God, no! You wouldn't want to.
okay, how about
craziness.
in,
No,
in your
I'm
school?
kidding. I'm kidding.
Exactly. So you wouldn't want that to be recording all the time.
Okay.
We don't do that. The only time the police.
Schools, yes, because I would want to know exactly
Well,
what
let
happened.
me hear what you got to
But
say.
you're-
Go ahead.
But I'm going to say you don't, because there are some things like a parent-teacher meeting. Those are things that are private.
Private.
There's some privacy issues there. So the only time this is put into play or put into use is when an activation
Yeah, I
is
would not
occurred.
want that at all.
Okay.
It's the only time. So
Okay.
the police department, let's say they're bored, they can't just click on a button and listen in.
Okay.
Can't do that with this.
But
They're
the
being-
government does that. Has sits everywhere. Got little bugs.
Well, I
the bugs
can't-
everywhere.
I can't get into that.
I
However-
know they do. We just don't know. But I know.
But that's a major concern for a lot of people. Now, we
My
all-
phone, my TV, my toaster, my radio. I ain't stupid.
All right, that's been a major concern for us. Now, we're
Oh, okay.
talking about just schools, colleges, we've expanded a little bit too. But the bigger use for something like this is in a mall,
Yes,
Oklahoma City.
that is so important
And
too
theaters.
there. Oh, very.
Corporations. Look at, I'm going to speak to Connecticut because that's what I know. But Connecticut Lottery had a shooting many years ago.
Wow.
Hartford Distributors is a private company. They've
Let's take that caller.
can even-
Rockland World Radio, you're live and direct. Who are we speaking
Hi,
with?
I'm calling about the school shootings.
Oh, for the school shootings?
Yeah.
Hi, who are we speaking with?
This is Julie Bashir.
Oh, okay, how are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Great, and where are you calling from?
Florida.
Florida?
Yes, Florida.
Awesome. Okay, do you have questions for our guest?
Actually, I wanted to tell you a little scenario and then ask their opinion about what the outcome should have happened. My stepson was in high school, and this kid showed him a gun off campus, of course, and I guess there was consultation in school, and my stepson pushed the kid, and of course the school cameras caught that. And then they did an interview. Everybody went and told them the story and that the kid had a gun off campus and threatened to use it. And that's what the fight was about in the hallway. The kid did not get in trouble. He was not suspended from school. What do you think should have happened?
Okay, so the question is, what do you think should happen to the person with the gun?
Yes.
Okay, so
The fact that
all right,
there was
I would hope that the officer, or I'm hoping they have a school resource officer on site. Is that true?
There was, but he was not involved. It was the school counselor and the school principal that made the deciding factor.
Okay, well, that kind of goes to, and I'm only speaking from what I know in school districts that I've worked with. That goes to their school policy, and a school policy has to be able to address, especially a viable threat such as a gun. That I would refer to the school resource officer to appropriately deal with.
It wasn't handled properly.
Right. Well, and let me ask you a question. Do you think at that point when the principal is basically telling the parents, because they have proof that he pushed them, if they don't let it go, that they're going to have to suspend him because of school policy, and this way if everybody just sweeps it under the rug, that everything will just go away and they'll act like it didn't happen. Do you think that that's a good message to send to other kids?
That'd be hard to comment on. I don't really know what their policy is. I would hope that they wouldn't sweep anything under the rug.
No, it happened, and there was other kids that all stepped up, and they were even over my house, and they all said the kid had a gun. They all told the school officials, and they basically swept it underneath the rug.
They're treating
And
it
I
like a
just
fight.
figured that I really thought that's a bad message to send to
They didn't do
kids.
discipline enough.
Well, I would say if you're not getting remedy from your principal, I would take it to the local police department.
Okay, well, thank you. That
Or
answers
the
my
head of the
question.
school district.
Yeah, you could do that too.
Because unfortunately, that's what happens is some of these kids do report, and because I guess the kid didn't have the gun on campus, or they couldn't prove it, it was basically stuffed underneath the rug. And, I just want people to know that if you're not getting your answer from the school, where you should go to next.
And this is kind of a hot topic, obviously, throughout the United States. And I'm going to let you know that there's an organization out of Newtown, Connecticut, called Sandy Hook Promise. And they have a campaign going on right now, See Something, Say Something. That's one of the things that you could enlist their help in.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, and go ahead.
No, I was agreeing. I get that email all the time, and I reply, and I give my feedback, and I even try to donate to, so this way, whatever money they get, they can put like this system in.
Right.
In hopes,
Right.
it's just a very good plan that they opened,
Right.
that they started for that.
Yeah, and I just thought it was a really bad message to send to the other kids that, now what's the purpose of reporting it if the school's not going to do anything about it?
How long ago did that happen?
It was like 2 or 3 years ago.
Okay. Has anything
But-
ever happened after that?
No, basically it came down to is that everybody just swept it under the rug. He wouldn't have to be punished because he pushed the kid back. They didn't care why he pushed the kid, but
That's what happens in schools, and it's so annoying because, like, my son got pushed. He pushed the kid back. Now, this is a totally different situation, but my son got suspended out of school for pushing him back when he knows he has to defend himself. And the kid only got in school suspension 1 day. My son got 5 days.
yeah, well, it blew my mind that it wasn't just
Because it was
him.
retaliation.
Right. It was 5 other kids came to the school and said this is what he does is he likes to show this gun around, I guess to put fear in the other high school kids. And I was just blown away that the school did not take that serious.
School apparently wanted to keep it hush-hush, not to cause a panic.
So I
Oh,
think
no, but they're probably connected in the school. The parents are probably the freaking president or something of the board, and you never know. But how is
Right.
it? I don't understand how they're allowing the child to walk around. Are you allowed to have guns in that town? Are they just freely allowed to have guns? Like, how can that child be walking around the schools bullying children with a gun and nobody do anything about it?
I don't know. Like I said, there was 5 other kids, so it wasn't just one kid saying it. I mean, I could say, or question it if it was just one kid saying it, but when you've got multiple kids saying yes, they've all seen this kid with a gun, he threatens everybody with the gun, and the school does, it blew my mind.
Are you allowed to have guns in your town? Like, is it
Well-
passed?
You can have a gun if you have a permit, but you have to go through class, so this kid obviously did not.
Well, under 18, they shouldn't even, or even under 21, they should not even be allowed to have a gun unless they're in law enforcement. And
I
even
agree.
there's some kind of, they need to have, because 21, you're still young, but you're growing, but you're right at the shot. Like, you're fast on the trigger. You're not fully developed in training.
Well, I have a
Right.
question. Would you be able to recommend a system like this to a parent like that?
You could, but it's not going to prevent someone. This is not something that's going to be almost like a firewall.
Right.
Metal detector practice.
It's a
Yeah.
prevention. I mean, it's not prevention,
This
it's
is,
a caution.
This is actually something that is unfortunately reactionary
Okay.
to something like that, and to get the notification to the first responders quicker.
Okay.
We're talking minutes quicker, meaning, and I always give this example of if I were to ask one of you to pick up your phone and call 911, how fast do you think it would be before somebody could answer it, but also
How fast I'm nervous? I can't even tell you when
Right.
I'm nervous. When my kids get hurt, I'm like, I'm like,
Right.
oh my God, I can feel
Right.
jello in my legs, and I'm like, Jesus
This-
God, this is not going to end well.
this is actually something that will transfer everything that we know up to that
It'll
second
dial it for us,
with 4 seconds.
and we don't even have to
Awesome.
worry.
That is really awesome.
So, and you don't have to talk. It actually is.
How could she get information, the viewer, and bring that to the principal, and see if maybe they could install a system like that?
She could either go on our website, and I can give that to you again if you like.
Yes, please.
Yeah, give that
It's,
to her.
www.verbiinc.com. That's VERBIINC.com. Or if she'd like to send me an email, my email is craig.worster, WORSTER, @verbiinc.com. And I can give her as much information as she'd like.
We
Okay,
can,
do you have any more questions for him?
No, thank you, but I think you guys are doing a great show, and I really appreciate, you guys doing the show, so
Okay,
you guys have a
thank
great
you.
day.
Thank you
thank
for
you.
calling.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
If she emails you back, you can send her a packet,
I could.
and then she can give them to the
I
local
have all this
schools.
digitized. I can send
Excellent.
it right out.
Excellent. And like maybe a PTA president
Be
can
perfect.
walk this into a,
It would be perfect for them to
a
do that.
principal or
That would be
something.
good. That would be really
So
good.
you
And
have
just
the
we spread the
schools
word.
In Connecticut actually using this system now?
Very good question. We have just now commercialized this product. So we've demilitarized, and let me explain what that means. This product was being used by the military, so it had the ability to tell what kind of gun it actually was.
Wow.
That's amazing.
All right, what kind of bullet, where it was coming from,
You
and that
need
sort
to
of
know.
thing. We don't need to know that now. All we need to know is actually a gunshot went off.
Okay.
So
It wouldn't make a difference anyway. You just know that a gunshot went off and get
that's
to
correct.
it.
That's correct.
That's great.
So what we've done up to this point, There is other parts of this company that use the same software. So we have an asset, a line which uses RFID readers and stuff. Now that's already been installed in a couple of companies, one of which we can talk about, one we can't. There's a major one down in it's a government facility down south that uses the asset protection. And there's also a school district down in Alabama that uses our asset protection as well.
Very good.
It's really an incredible app.
That is really good.
Now,
I am,
when along those same lines, I'm a feel-good person, meaning I have to actually grab it, hold it, and you can tell me that this is.
I got to see it for myself.
Exactly.
You just have.
What we've done in the last month is we took a device and we put it in a gun range, and we fired every bullet we can think of at it. And I can tell you, as an eyewitness of that test, every single one passed.
Oh, good. Oh, good.
And,
Oh, good.
and
That
that
was
means
good.
from the smallest caliber you can think of, and I'm not going to go into detail. A 22
There's
is
actually
a
a
small
new one now.
Yeah.
1.5 million something rounds or
piece of
something.
cake.
Oh.
We got it.
Wow.
We got it.
I
And,
read that on Facebook. I was like, oh, dear God, what next? I don't even want to know. God forbid.
but we've tested it, and it's passed with flying. And that's how I know the 4-second.
Wow.
Now we put everything over it, and the longest time it took for something to react was within that 4 seconds, which is kind of exciting.
Yeah, because anything can happen in a second, a split second, and that 4 seconds is so crucial. And for you to have to dial 911, you're never going to be able to dial it in 4 seconds, and not even in like 20 seconds. If you're really seeing your kid on the floor, and you just, I got to help him, but I got to call 911. I got to help him, but I got to call 911. You know, you can't.
Right.
It's just in your mind. It's not. Oh, I can handle it. No, it's the body reacting.
Right.
You know, face it. Like, you know, admit when you do need something like this. You know, and pay. You know, help pay, because don't even try to get yourself in a situation where I got that. I don't need that, because you don't. Your mind goes when you see children or someone hurt, and you can't.
Right. And I have a story for that, and I don't know if we're off topic, but I can.
That's
I'm
okay.
going to indulge me just a
Sure,
second.
sure.
I can tell you that I've handled many cases, involving children, and they do hit you in the
Oh
in the
yeah,
heart.
but my legs. Like,
However, as a professional, a police officer, lieutenant, or sergeant, whatever I was at the time, I was dealing with the situation. I could handle it easily because I was
you're
removed.
removed.
However, when my son
Oh well, no, that's
had an incident where I was needed, I was able to help him, but as soon as I got him to the emergency room,
Then you freaked. Your dad instinct came in.
yeah.
Yep, that's how it happens.
So I can relate to
On
how
the
you're
job
feeling.
scene, you can deal with it.
Sure.
And then once you're off it, it's like, hey, wait, this is my kid. You know, now I'm off scene.
Right.
You just, yeah, I get
Horrible. That's really horrible. How did you feel after that situation?
Well, it was almost like an adrenaline dump.
it. Oh yeah.
So
Does-
you're just kind of like
my-
relaxed.
Your legs
So-
don't get like that seaweed.
That's right.
Yeah, they do. I'm like, does anybody else get that, or is that just me?
That's really.
You know, like
that's
if a
rough.
kid even gets cut, or my kids, and I see them bleed, I'm like, my legs. I'm like, oh my God.
Sorry about being off topic.
No, that's okay.
No,
it's
it's
fine.
fine, it's fine.
You
Yeah.
say whatever you feel.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know,
and so how much would a system like this cost for a school to install?
Now that's gonna be a hard a question to ask.
Because you're going to make 3 packages now, right?
Yeah, because of Chrissy, I'm actually making 3 packages. I can tell you that it's going to be different for every school.
Oh,
All right,
okay.
and it depends on the infrastructure that they already have. I'm going to give an example. Nowadays, cameras are really not that expensive. But if you don't have any, we have to buy them. We have to install them.
Okay.
That takes money,
Okay.
and that sort of thing. The device itself is pretty inexpensive, relatively speaking. But every single building is different.
Okay.
All right. I'd love to have a cookie cutter
Yeah.
box. Okay, this box here
The package.
is X amount of money. I don't have it.
Okay.
I only thing I can testify to and relate to is it's not that much.
That's awesome.
A small car.
What should be mandatory is, without even you having to buy the camera, the schools should have a camera.
Well, they should. Yes.
I mean, when I found
Now,
out,
we can integrate with most cameras. There are, obviously, I got a bunch of them here that pop right up. Access camera, Nest, all those
and,
we
you-
can.
and Google, and
Right, and that sort of thing. We can actually integrate with them easily enough. There are some that have an IP address they would have to do a little bit of massaging.
Yeah, it's easy.
That's not out of my
They-
realm. I don't do the massaging. That's I only do the assessments.
Right.
However, for the most part, we can integrate with most of them.
Now,
Easily.
law enforcement have to have this system set up also?
They don't.
No.
Just like if I were to ask for any one of your phones, all I would need is the phone number.
Okay.
And then you're automatically connected.
Wow.
It's really that simple.
Maybe,
The app that comes with this actually will give you what you see on the screen. Now, it can come 4 different ways. Text, talk to text, which is the opposite, which is the 911 system.
Right.
Whatever that you set it up to say, that's what it says. There is text, straight up text. There's email, and then there's obviously our app. Our app is free. We don't
So-
charge anything for that.
If a shot was fired in a school,
Mm-hmm.
their phones automatically go off?
It depends on if you are on their system, but yes.
could the principal be connected his phone to that? So this way the administrators in the school can also be on board with the law enforcement so they can be following them and,
Well, you'd want
Awesome.
them to be.
yes,
Because
yes.
the Sandy Hook Commission actually addressed that. They addressed the fact that every person in that school is a
Including
integral-
teachers.
Exactly. Custodians.
Right,
They have to be involved because
Right.
they have all the keys.
right.
Wow.
Going back to Sandy Hook, there was a substitute teacher who didn't have a key and couldn't lock the door.
Wow.
Okay, so you'd want them to be on. Now, you would be on different groups. Now, you don't want this application going to a teacher and falling in the hands of somebody with a gun,
Right,
because then they would know
Right.
everything and be able to track the police.
right.
So you'd have different groups. The group 1 would be the emergency responders.
Right.
The group 2 would be the administrator, the teachers. So they can put the school in lockdown. They don't have to make the PA announcement anymore. It could be really and truly
Quiet,
that
yeah,
quiet.
very quiet.
Going back to Columbine, you have Columbine. You had people whispering in their phones, and then they would be found in the library. So to
That's
speak.
like so sick.
So let's take this to one step. We don't need to be talking. We don't need those alerts.
Oh, you mean the teachers or the kids?
the teachers?
Oh, okay. I thought you meant the kids. See,
Yeah.
you know how when they plan these things, I just think it's so
Yes, ma'am.
crazy.
Yeah. And then, of course, the Kenyon Mall incident was a good example of the phones, because that's how they were finding. They were getting the alerts. They would walk over
Oh,
and they'd
yeah.
shoot them.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Now, of course, that
we
was
heard that.
was
I know.
tragedy overseas. However, we can relate that here.
And we can prevent it. We can,
We can.
we can at least, if we can't, we can at least do 99 to 100% our job.
Well, what I like to say, and it's not my saying, but we need to harden our soft targets.
And
schools,
stop being so distrusting.
right,
I mean, start being
schools-
distrusting.
Right, schools, sporting events,
You're not safe
churches.
anywhere, really.
No.
This has an application in anything: churches, malls, corporations.
It's sad we have to live like this, but, we have to. And, we need to take this action.
You almost need to set one up in the house nowadays.
No, it's true.
Well, we have something similar, not at all like this, but we have the camera and the alarm and all that, and the kids set it off all the time, and the police, is everything okay there? And we still have to send a cop. And
Well,
everything.
in good example of a false alarm, and then the complacency of a responding unit. And I was in that position where we knew every single night, 555 Main Street's going to go off.
Yes, that's what happened to us.
Right. So
When my
this
son was
takes that
small.
out of that, because not only we're going to send a police officer if
You
it
hear the
goes off,
gunshot.
but we're going to have access to a camera to see. Hey, listen, that was.
Go on the inside.
Now, as far as a false alarm rate, we're less than 1%.
Right.
You can't beat that.
No, you can't.
Now,
do
are
it.
we perfect? No.
But you know what you're doing, and
Exactly.
you made sure that you went into this project and wanted to make sure you did it to the best ability for your clients. You didn't want to just throw stuff together and charge. You wanted to make sure with passion. You did it with passion, basically. And see, when people do things with passion, that's how the job gets done.
Right.
It has to be done with passion because that's,
Exactly.
That's the best.
And with that being said, we want to thank you for coming on our show.
Thank you.
We've run out
I
of time.
appreciate
We'll definitely invite you back. Very
Please.
informative information here. I was very,
Yeah, I was amazed.
Impressed.
I'm very amazed.
Thank you very much.
which is why I sat so quietly, because I just wanted to absorb
Yes.
everything you were saying,
I appreciate it.
Yeah, awesome.
But maybe we
Honored
can
to
have
be
you
here.
back to talk about other issues in, law enforcement.
Sure,
And,
that'd be great.
yeah.
Well, thank you so much. Let the people know how to get in contact with you one more time.
Through the website is obviously the easiest. It is www.verbinc.com. That's VERBIINC.com. Or you can use our emails. Mine is craig.worster, WORSTER, at verbiinc.com. And our
Is there a phone number?
Yeah, my phone number is 203-240-1363.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. It was an honor to have you come. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay. Rockland World Radio, every Wednesday from 7 to 8 p.m., 845-353-2910. Give him a call, contact him. We do need to implement this system. Thank you.
I'm independent. You know it. You love it. You can't live without it. Rockland World Radio.